G'day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the performance of the Super Saiyan Goku, or the Tech Super Saiyan Goku, in the red zone. So we've got him against Omega Shenron. Omega Shenron is actually a good test for Goku because it shows the necessity for Goku's guard. Broly, obviously a very challenging fight, but technically Goku's guard is never really super utilized. You use it obviously in all the phases, but he's already a tech type. Tech type is the number one type and you do want to take into the event. So Goku being a tech type doesn't matter as much in that event as it does here, because Goku here is facing the Int Omega Shenron. So not only does that mean that his guard being active is a heavy priority, but it means that the Goku who doesn't have his guard active is going to take a lot of damage, and that's an interesting thing to kind of take a look at. Obviously that only really matters if you're running double Gokus as your powerful comeback category leads, but it's something interesting to note. So yeah, obviously Goku, his guard is very important here because he is obviously facing an N-type unit. So we'll talk about Goku's details, we'll talk about everything like that. But Goku, essentially, for him at least, if you're running a double Goku, the biggest problem you're going to have is you can only activate the revive once, and so you can only have one Goku with permanent guard. Having permanent guard is incredibly important, and obviously if you lose it with the one Goku, you're going to struggle a lot in the final phase. So ideally, if you are looking at running Goku in this event, I wouldn't suggest running a double Goku team. Obviously, you can get a very, very good double Goku team. Goku may be Rainbow and he'll be more than fine. It depends on where your health is. But generally speaking, I find it a lot easier to utilize Goku under something else. Under Goku's family, Super Saiyan, pretty much any of his other categories are pretty good. Movie heroes, obviously pretty solid on. Kamehameha is also good. Pure Saiyans is fine. But there's a lot of great categories you can run him on. And me, personally, I find it best to run him under those categories. But Goku looks pretty solid overall. He handles the first phase very well. His defense starts at a high enough point that he's fine. Generally, on the rare occasion where he gets supered before his additional defense kicks in, is the only real place where you face some significant issues. We're going to get the revive skill here, which is obviously fantastic. But just to talk you through Goku's capabilities, just so you guys are obviously up to speed with it. So Goku is a 200% powerful comeback lead. He greatly raises attack for one turn on his 12 key, and also raises defense and causes mega colossal damage to the enemy on his 18 key. He has key plus 5 and attack and defense of 159%, with attacks effective against all types, plus an additional defense of plus 59% within the same turn after receiving an attack. He has an additional key plus 1 up to 5 and an additional attack up to 60% with each attack received. He will guard all attacks when HP is 60% or more. If HP is 59% or less at the start of the character's attacking turn, he will revive with 59% HP recovered when he or an ally attacking in the same turn is KO'd. Now this is once only, which means you cannot activate it on both Gokus, and that's something that's important to take note. You will guard all attacks and have a high chance of performing a critical hit starting from the turn in which the revival skill is activated. So that's why I say that Goku, running a double Goku team is a little bit riskier than just running Goku under a separate team. Because when you run Goku under a separate team, you only have one Goku, so there's no real risk of only activating the revive on one of them. Obviously, it's perfectly understandable that you may suffer in a situation where Goku, yeah, doesn't have the health requirement. As you saw there, we took quite a fair chunk of damage. But Goku can still stack pretty fast enough that he may not take significant damage as well. And that's just one of those things. It's going to depend on how many dupes of Goku you have. It's going to just depend realistically on how Goku has performed throughout the event. Have you prioritized his stacking? Have you not? Do you have dupes in him? Do you not? That's the main condition surrounding Goku. In terms of everything else, I think Goku is relatively quite strong. I do think he's a very solid unit that brings a lot to the team. I think the 200% leader skill is great. His guard ability is great. The KO chance is really, really good. Everything is just pretty solid in terms of ability. Here, again, you're going to see Goku's active skill, also something useful. The ability to interrupt the opposition to prevent them from causing significant damage to you is a skill that is always highly valuable. It's also going to increase his attack temporarily as well. So you're going to see a very, very strong performance from Goku. Now, of course, at least from my perspective, I think Goku's a top-notch unit. I think any unit that has guard is an incredibly powerful unit, and with the rate at which Goku stacks with his LR stats, the way his multiplicative defense of 59% works after he receives an attack, generally speaking, it looks very, very good for Goku. And like I said, the worst case scenario is when Goku takes super attacks without getting the initial hit first, because that does prevent quite a large chunk of defense from activating. Now it doesn't make him bad, because by then his stacks and his guarding mechanism mean that he's still generally okay, but it does obviously change dramatically how much he is going to take in terms of damage. And I think that's just important to note. There is quite a sizable difference between how much he takes after that initial kind of contact and then obviously following up with that other contact as well. So it's just important to note with Goku, I guess, that kind of mechanism. Obviously, I think Goku's great. I think he does a lot. I think he brings a lot to the table. And I think overall he's a very solid unit. Here we finally see him in the final phase. You can see he's stacked up 317,000. I've run him on a team whereby he's activated his guard, and generally speaking he looks very solid. He's now also obviously interrupted Omega Shenron, and so now we're going to get a really nice look at just how well Goku will do in this turn. So obviously defensively doing very well, tanking double digits, very good. He's going to do some good damage as well. We've got that attacks effective against all types active. We've got that crit chance as well. So Goku doing some very solid work here. Doing some pretty solid defensive work basically. In terms of tanking a super, I think he could. It is a little bit, obviously for those who don't know, Omega Shenron will super quite heavily, quite intensely on his 20th attack. So at the end of every 2 turns he will fire an attack. The big issue with this is going to be how much Goku has stacked. If he has stacked a lot, then you will be fine. If he has not stacked, then you are going to be in a little bit of trouble. So it is a little bit difficult, I want to say, to directly say exactly how Goku is best to handle an event. I think personally speaking, I think Goku's very strong. I think he's a great option. I think he brings a lot to the table. I think at 55%, I can't see him being a solo carry for the event. I think at 100% definitely, with the additional ability to crit from his passive, the additionals, You know, the extra stats, Goku just will be a menace at that point. But I do think, you know, if he doesn't, like, if you don't have that kind of max level Goku, you can't rely on this Goku to carry you through the event. You still need a strong team around him. But with that being said, Goku does fantastically as an individual unit in a strong team. He's defensively sound, he does great damage. You can see he's done some pretty solid damage, and because he has that attack effective against all types, you're not minimizing his damage at any point. His damage is always very solid, and yeah, just as a team, I think he does well. He's good on a lot of strong teams for this content. Goku's family, Super Saiyan, powerful comeback is now very viable. I just think in this event where he desperately needs that guard mechanic for the final phase, running the powerful comeback team is not necessarily the best way to go about it. Just because if you run that powerful comeback team, you only have the one revive you can use. But that's about it for me. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care, and bye.